So, how's everybody? How was spring break? I understand. So, starting today, we've got 2 weeks of guest lectures. Our first guest lecturer is Jay Thompson here. I've given you a little bit of background about Jay, but not very much. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand the stage over to Jay.
Well, hello, everybody. Okay, so, did you tell them who I'm with? Representing today?
I told them that you are an advisor for the SBDC. I don't think I mentioned too much about Transamerica, actually.
Okay. Well, yes, I am talking about the SBDC today. So my name is Jay Thompson. I'm the lead business consultant at the CSU Bakersfield Small Business Development Center. Now, how many of you here knew that you had a Small Business Development Center connected with you? All right, well, great. That's better than before. And by the way, we were in a class earlier. It looked like a mortician's convention, right? Everybody's like, you guys look great. This is an awesome class. So I'm proud to be here. So when you're in business, you play every ace all the time. One of the things we're going to do is take some photos, right? Because you're going to be on Facebook. We got a clipboard by law. It's mandatory that you sign in for my lecture. I'll start over here. All right. Then I have some business cards up here if anybody's interested in that. So, anyways, what we do at the SBDC is we provide no cost to the client, premium consulting services with everything to do about business. So everything from business management, getting loans, access to capital, HR, finance, you name it, anything to do with the business, marketing. And we're not all experts in all those fields. I'm a generalist. But what I am good at is finding out where to go to get the stuff that you need. So if somebody's interested in starting a business, they would contact us. We would sit down and have a conversation, and then I would go out and find stuff for them and bring it back. So, how many people know that SBA loans money to small businesses? Okay, well, they don't. SBA guarantees loans. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. People say, hey, I want to get an SBA loan. Well, great. They don't have those. They guarantee bank loans. So, but anyways, we have conversations, and we go out and find out whatever tools you need to help you get going with your business, and it's no cost to you. So our territory with CSU Bakersfield is Kern, Inyo, and Mono counties. And I've been with them, this will be my 6th year already. And I've consulted with over 1,000 businesses now. So it's a pretty neat thing. How many in here are interested in having their own business? Just a few, right? How many want to work for somebody else and make them wealthy? Well, that's everybody who didn't raise their hand, right? So here's the scoop. You're going to make somebody wealthy in your lifetime. It's either going to be you or it's going to be your employer. But you get to decide it, right? And you have something that is very special here at CSU Bakersfield that a lot of people at other schools don't have the opportunity to have. And that is Dr. Woodshire. This guy is an amazing man with an entrepreneurial mindset, and he can really help you develop and grow this. So don't miss that, right? Take advantage of it. It's a big deal. I love business. I didn't start out that way. I kind of went the corporate route way back when. First, when I was in high school, I got a job with Underwater Schools of America, right? And I was a dive instructor for them. And I was doing a good job, they told me. And then one day, I got let go. And long story short, my boss, Bruce, and I overheard him talking to his friend who just lost his job. He wanted to bring his friend in to work with him. And so that meant that I had to go. So the general manager came around, they were having a conversation, and Bruce tells him, hey, I'd like to hire my buddy, and this and that, he's a great guy. He goes, yeah, but he says, we can't afford to have Jay and him. So if Jay wants to go, or you're going to get rid of him, then you can have the other guy. So guess what happened? I'm gone. Right? And so I go to Bruce, I go, man, why are you firing me? I thought I did a good job. Oh, you're doing a great job. I thought we were friends. Oh, yeah, we're buddies. But they didn't go so far. And now I understand. The other guy was married, had a couple kids and all that. I was a punk kid in high school, but it still didn't feel any good. Later, I got a job with the Santa Fe Railway Company. And most of my family had worked for the Santa Fe in one aspect or another. And I got a job as a machinist apprentice, which was a 3-year program. You go in, you got classroom training, you work with the lead machinist, and they teach you all this stuff. At the end, you get your journeyman papers, which is a big deal. If you're in a workman's trade, when you have your papers, you can go to any other firm and you're already qualified. And so my goal was, I'm going to be the chief mechanical officer of the Santa Fe Railway Company. I already had this planned out. So to do that, you had to have a double apprenticeship. So I was going to do machinist first, and I was going to do electrical. And then you could get into the management aspect, and then my goal was I was going to be the chief mechanical officer. So about 6 weeks before I finished my machinist apprenticeship, they had what's called a forced labor reduction. Anybody know what that is? That means you're laid off. Right? And my dreams just went out that fast. And so that's twice. It kind of hurt, didn't feel good, and I thought, man, I had my life planned and set what I wanted to do, and it didn't work out. So I said, no more. So I haven't had a job since 1982. I've worked for myself. So when I'm successful, it's because of me, and when I'm not successful, it's because of me. Right? But the best thing about it is I'm in control of whatever I do. I don't have to ask anybody if I want to take a week off or a month off or a year off. I set my own schedule. As long as I'm keeping my clients happy, I have an income stream. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me. And by the way, when I was in school, I always kind of was a little bit entrepreneurial. I had the typical paper route. And then when I was a young teenager, we went into this condominium neighborhood. And I created a little business washing windows. They were 2 stories because the neighborhood ladies couldn't clean their upper windows. So I did that stuff, and I started working for the HOA there, cleaning the pool area and taking care of these gas lanterns they had around for streetlights. So I always had that in there, but I was always told the lie that, you go out, you go to school, right? Who's heard this? Go to school and get a good education, right? Why? So you can get a good what? There are no good jobs. Job means just over broke, right? You do enough work so they don't fire you, right? And they pay you enough money so you don't quit. So, anyways, I'm a little biased in case you hadn't noticed, but I think what you want to do is, find out what your passion is and follow your dream, and you can achieve it. Right? It used to be a lie. We used to say, hey, if you could think it, you could create it, and that wasn't really true. But nowadays, with the technology that's available to us, we can really achieve what we can conceive. It's really right there. So, I have some business cards here. So if you're interested in a business, CSUB, SBDC, here's a card. It's free service. Actually, not free. It's no cost to you. Your tax dollars pay for it. I have a branch office of Transamerica Financial Advisors here. And if you have any interest in that, we have that available too. We also have internships. And for the person who asked the best question today, we have a book. This is written by one of my business partners, Mark Kwan. Which ran the bank. And what is it about? What the banks don't want you to know about money. Wow. Who wants the book? Nobody? Red Hat was first in it. You didn't ask us? Are you on the list? All right. Okay. So, one of the things I do because I have fun every day. When you decide what your passion is and you follow that, you'll never work another day in your life. So, I set my alarm clock every morning for 10 minutes to 6. You know why? Because an idea. This is interactive. Okay, I'll tell you why. The average American gets up at 6 a.m. So I set my alarm clock for 10 minutes before because I want to beat them, right? But guess what? I wake up early. My alarm never goes off. I'm up before that every morning because I'm ready to go. Right? And when you get on a mission and there's a passion that you're following, and you'll never work another day in your life. It's amazing. Having your own business is not a job. It's not really a career. It's more of a lifestyle. Right? And that's probably the biggest thing you need to know if you want to go into business for yourself. It's a lifestyle. You're going to work like nobody else now, right? So you can live like nobody else later. And it's an amazing way to go. So let me go over some of these questions. If you have another question that's not on the list, feel free to chime in. We'll go both ways. So where is Al Saeed?
With Nasser Al Saeed.
Ditched out today?
I don't see Nasser.
Okay, so I'll ask this question for him. Do you advise starting a first small business abroad? We should start a business wherever you are. So I would say if he's a foreign student, he's abroad, he should start one here, right? But yes, everybody should have a business, even if you have a job. And there's some career paths where you're going to have a job, such as a professor, right? You can't just have your own university by yourself, although that might be a conversation to have. But you should still have something on the side, and you'll find out a lot of your business professors do have something on the side, right? And there's more than one reason for that, which we might even talk about. Who's the next guy? Al Ferre?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, what is the most important step to begin any business? Okay. So the first thing to do when you're going to begin a business, you need to have a passion for what you're going to do, right? And then there's kind of a three-step process. First, you conceive it. Then we want to put it on a piece of paper, right? And then we want to implement the plan. So just like you're building a building, what do? You have an idea for a building. You're going to draw a blueprint. Then you're going to build it according to the blueprint, right? Does that answer your question? Okay. The other thing you want to know about starting a business is you need to know something about the industry. You don't have to be an expert at all in it, but you need to know some fundamentals about it. Make sure that's something you want to follow. And then you need to follow all the rules, let's say. You need to have a business license. You need, if there's any licensing that you need to achieve for professional licenses, professional designations, any of those kind of things to give you credibility. You need to get all those things in play, and those should all be part of your plan, right? Al Mahood?
Zaid. Don't see Zaid.
Okay. So what are the most important skills one needs to be successful in this profession? I don't know what he means by this profession. As a consultant?
As a consultant.
You need to be a people person. So the best part about, most business in general, the best part about it is the people, and the worst part about it is the people, right? So quite often, and as a business consultant, what I find quite often is I become more concerned about the individual's business or what they're trying to achieve than they are, And there's always that question, what's more important, practice or theory in business? And I would tell you they're both important, but at different times. So in the beginning, when you're starting a business, the most important part is practice. It doesn't matter what you know. You have to do whatever it takes to get this thing going, right? When you decide to start a business, your business, you need to look at it as a living, breathing person that can't take care of itself. You have to feed it. You have to clothe it. You have to bathe it. You have to do whatever it takes or this thing's going to die on. It's just like having a baby, right? An infant, you have to take care of it, right? It can't feed itself. It can't clothe itself. It can't bathe itself. Then as it grows a little bit, then you can pull back a little bit, right? And then later it becomes an adult, and you don't have to take care of it all. It'll take care of itself. It's the same thing with your business. So if you follow through a path and develop all these things, you'll eventually get to the point where it's taking care of itself. My definition of a business is really something, an entity that you can step out of and it continues to function on its own, right? So a lot of people confuse a business and a practice. And it can be both, but a practice is something like a physician or an attorney, right? They have a practice. And if they step out of the practice, their income stream stops, right? Now, if you grow that practice big enough, you can have additional professionals working with you or for you, and you can step out and the thing will still function. But a lot of people don't understand that in the beginning. It's kind of a rude awakening to them. They'll go like, man, I got to work all the time because if I don't work, there's no money. Well, you didn't create a business. You created a practice. Alice Bali? Faris?
Ferris. They're back there.
Okay. What has your career path been like? Well, you got a little bit there. So after I got dumped by the railroad, and by the way, they called me back 6 months later and said, "Hey, Jay, come on back, man. We got your job for you." And guess what I said? No way. So I got involved with a company that I had railroad experience at that time. I got involved with a company who was servicing the railroads, and that was kind of a partnership deal with them, and that lasted about 5 years. I did several things that were kind of small things on the sides beside that, and then I decided, well, I could see the writing on the wall with the railroad servicing company. It was growing leaps and bounds, and new people were coming in. So how many people have ever experienced this? You know pretty well what you're doing. They hire somebody above you who doesn't have a clue what's going on. So we started getting some of that kind of stuff. And I saw the writing on the wall that it was time to get away from that and start something new. So my wife and I, we went and looked at all kinds of businesses, dry cleaners, car washes, you name it. And we ended up buying a little, there's a two-man shop in Santa Clarita that did automotive mechanics. And I'm mechanical, I'm not a mechanic. I could fix your car, but it might take me all day. We're a journeyman auto mechanic, could probably do it in 2 or 4 hours, right? So I can do it, I'm just not that skilled, and these are kind of big to be getting in there to work on stuff. So anyways, we started that business in 1986 with 2 employees, and we sold it in 2004 with 24 employees. We were doing about $3 million a year at that time, and sold it for a lot of money. And I tell everybody it took me 10 years to be an overnight success because it was like this in the beginning. I've learned everything the hard way, right? And that's, by the way, the practice and the theory. So in the beginning, the practice, doing everything it takes to get it going, and then I didn't have the theory to support, right, what I was doing, and that's why I went through this kind of stuff. I did learn it the hard way. I started college at Cal State Fullerton right after high school. And I made it 3 years, and I said, I'm done with this. Because these professors, man, they're talking about all this stuff. I want to start a business and make money, right? And so I did go back to school later, but I was 40 years old when I graduated college. But then it was because, I wanted to go back. And so I would tell you, in one respect, you don't need to go to college to have a business. But number 2, it's probably the best thing you can do to support your business is to have the education behind you, right? And this is an MBA class here?
Yeah, these are undergrads.
Okay.
Seniors.
So the MBAs kind of get in more trouble with this kind of stuff because they go and get their MBA and they know how all this theory, how it's supposed to work. But when your business in the beginning doesn't work that way, right? Again, you got to do whatever it takes. And so sometimes they get in trouble with that. But anyways, let's move on. Who's the next guy? Oh, did I answer your question? Or do you want to know more? So I sold my business in 2004, which is, 13 years ago. I was 46 years old, and I retired. And so the first year, my wife and I, we traveled. I haven't been everywhere in the world, but we traveled quite a bit of places. And the first year was pretty good because we didn't really take vacations when we had our business running because, again, I had 24 employees. When you have that many employees, the odds of somebody having a bad day on any given day was almost 100%, right? They would just take turns. And then their problem becomes your problem. And we worked 6 days a week, but we did work half days, though, right? When you have your own business, you can work half days, 12 hours a day. So we didn't do much. So anyways, we started traveling a lot of places. We kind of got that out of our system. And then I got into... Because I had a lot of money after selling my business, I wanted to learn how to protect myself. Went and got licensed as a certified trust specialist, and now they changed the law in California. You can't do that unless you're an attorney. But I went and did that, and I started helping other people. And then I did it for myself, and then I started helping friends and family. And I started getting all these referrals. So I've written probably 1,000 trusts since that time. But then being retired and not having anything to do, you think, I'm going to go do all this stuff, but your friends are working, right? And so the key is it's not being retired. It should not be your goal. It's being able to be in control and empowered with what you want to do with your time. That's a better way to look at it. So I was bored to tears. I started traveling around the country with a bunch of the real estate gurus. I had invested heavily in real estate. And I would go to all their big, fancy weekend, 1-week convention things where they would tell people how to invest in real estate. Well, Then I learned that most of the people that were teaching the gurus that were traveling around doing this stuff, they didn't even do what they're telling people to do. Right? So then I got out of that. And then I found Transamerica. I was looking to become a CFP, Certified Financial Planner, and it was going to cost me a lot of money to do that. And one of my friends says, hey, why don't you check out this company? I think they'll do all that training for you, and they don't charge you for that training, and you can do everything that you're talking about doing, helping people. So when I had my business and I got out of there, I thought everybody was like me, that you worked hard and you would save some money and you would invest some money. Most people don't do that, right? Most of them spend more than they earn. So that's why we're on this big financial literacy campaign right now, because we want to tell people, look, spending and saving are both habits, right? So create a habit of saving now for yourself. It'll serve you well later. So anyways, so I started with Transamerica and had a lot of success there. And then 2009, I met a guy in Atlanta who lived here in Bakersfield. And I had real estate rentals here then, some apartment buildings. And so I would come up here once in a while and we got together and goes, man, I want to start a business up here. So we moved up here in 2009 to help him get started. And I told my wife at the time, hey, you know what, 6 months and we're going back south, right? That was what, 8 years ago now? I'm not going back. Kern County is the place, by the way. So if you want to be in business, Kern County is the place. What is the next question we'd like to have? And then a year after that, after being here, I got connected with the Small Business Development Center, and then that took me off onto another tangent. So all the while, but having a business with Transamerica, there's no territories or boundaries. You can do it from anywhere. You have a cell phone and computer, you're in business. Alvarado?
Yasmin.
Okay. So being able to advance in the business world can mean that you encounter problems. Is there one in particular that you've learned from that has made you more experienced and successful? Yeah. The biggest problem is right between your ears. It's the mindset. Right? And so that's usually a big problem for the clients, too. When you're talking about SBDC clients that come in and want to start a business, most of them come in and they go, well, I have no money, no credit. My friends and family won't help me, but I want to borrow $1 million and open a business. Well, have a nice day. Nobody's going to loan you $1 million. Right? And if you ever go on YouTube and watch like Mark Cuban videos and whatnot, he says you're stupid to borrow money to open a small business. That may or may not be true depending on what it is and what you're doing, but there's a lot of things you can do to start a business without going to a great expense and get the thing moving and then grow it and scale it. But I guess the thing, the biggest problem I have is, like I said before, the best part about it is the people and the worst part about it is the people. So people who have a dream and then I become more impassioned about their dream than they are. And, my point of view is if you decide you're going to do something, you're never going to fail unless you quit. Right? And so don't quit. You're only quitting on yourself. But if you decide I'm going to do this and you stick to your guns, I'm here, I want to be here, right? And figure out a path to get there. And once you figure out that path, then collapse those time frames, compress them. The faster you can compress the time frame, the faster you're going to achieve your goal. And that's the thing with creating a business model. So you have an idea, you create a business model, and figure out what it takes to do that. Then the rapid duplication of that business model is what's going to create your success. The faster you can spin it, the faster it's going to happen. If you need outlets, the more outlets you can create. The faster you create them, the faster it's going to happen. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay. So who's next? Oh, man. I'm going to try that. I'll go with Jacob Isaiah. Okay, good. How do I say your last name? Easy for you to say. What do you think is the most common overlooked detail when trying to start a small business? Wow. So probably not having a plan. And, it's not one detail, it's a group of many. But people who plan and plan well, and you don't have to be really good at it, but you have to have a pretty good idea. They have a way better chance of succeeding than not. Probably half the people I meet with that want to start a business, they don't come back for a second visit. Because I go, look, if you want to be a success in business, well, let me put it this way. If you want to be fit and trim, what do? You go to the gym, you eat boiled chicken breast, you start doing what those people do, and then what happens? You start looking like them, right? If you want to be a success in business, what do? You do what successful business people do, right? And what do? They network, right? They do whatever it takes to win, right? And if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone and go achieve these things, then you're not going to be a success. It's that simple. I give them homework. I say, look, we're going to start with creating a business model, right? We're going to look up what licenses and things you need to be legit. So, one thing is like having a business license. In Bakersfield, if you live in the city, there's a business license. It's $35. Well, people go, do I have to have that? Well, no. I mean, people get away with it for years not having that. But why would you not have that? If you want to be a legitimate business, you do the legitimate thing, and you get a license that says you are a legitimate business. And then guess what happens when you do that? Now you can say, hey, look, guess what? I'm a legitimate business. I have a business license. I have a business bank account. I did a fictitious name statement. IRS, I'm going to deduct from my home office, right? And what if you just deduct for your home office and they audit you and they say, well, you don't have a license, you don't have a bank account, you don't. See what I mean? It's just little detail. Boy, a couple of them got out without asking questions. D. Claudia, one of my favorite ladies. Everybody know Claudia? She's awesome. She knows a lot about business. During your time working as an SBD consultant, what has been the small business venture that you enjoyed working on the most? Wow. Well, I have to tell you. So, two of my SBDC clients are also in the room, Miguel and Miss Ayla. And they both graduated here last year, and they've created small businesses, and I like working with these guys. They're young, they're energetic, they're exciting, they do amazing things, and it's fun. There's been several, I guess out of the 1,000 people I've sat with, there's probably about 5 of those businesses that I'd want to be involved with. But here's the scoop. To be involved with them, you probably need $500,000 to $1 million, and I would invest that in their business. The concept's great, The potential payback is great, but it's going to be about 10 years later. So I'll stay where I am. Does that answer you? Okay. So what's next? Who's next here? Amy. Bredesen? Oh, there you are. Hi, Amy. What do you find the most challenging part of being a consultant? People. Okay. So here's the scoop. When you're dealing with your clients, you're always on. If they call, they want you to pick up the phone right now. Right? But when you want them, they'll get back to you when they feel like that's probably frustrating or challenging thing, right? But you'll find there's a lot of winners out there that do, and you're amazed. So some people you'll sit with and you'll hold their hand and you'll go through all this stuff, right? And they never acknowledge it, never do anything. It's like a waste of time. And others you do very little for. And they go, oh man, Jay was the most awesome. He did this for me. He did that. I'm like, So again, it's just the people, and it just depends. We're all the same, but we're all a little bit different. And if you can find a way to make that connection with somebody, you'll overcome those challenges. Caraballo?
Over there.
All right. Oh, super lady. I got one over here. So, how did you get in the field of business, and how did you know that it was something you wanted to really have a career? When I went to school, even back to elementary school and up through high school and all that stuff, nobody ever told me I could have my own business. Everybody said you get a good education, so you get a good job, and we went through that way. Except for my mom. My mom always encouraged me. She says, Jay, you can have your own business. You can do this. You can do that. So, My mom was the biggest one to encourage me. And then once you have your own business, even though it's a lot of work to do this stuff, it's the most rewarding thing. It really is. Because, it's just like any of you that build or make things, you take raw materials and you put something together, and now you can stand up and go, man, look at it, I did that. It's the same thing with your business. It's extremely rewarding. And I get as much joy out of helping other people achieve their success. I don't have to be up on the stage in front of everybody. If you're my client and you're up there, man, I'm just as happy. It's excellent. Paraskal, Linda?
Here.
There you go. What do you suggest for a recent graduate who plans on opening their own business one day? Okay. So what type of business are you interested in opening?
I'm not quite sure. Right now I'm working for H&R Block, but I don't really want to be a financial advisor or anything in accounting.
Okay.
Something like
Well, I would suggest you run over and talk to Miguel and Haley.
that. Okay.
So, and by the way, I'm a licensed tax pro too, and I don't want to churn tax returns. I do that for my high income earning clients because you can legally reduce or eliminate their taxes. Okay? Most people say, well, you got to pay tax. You don't have to pay tax, but you have to do it in a legal manner. Right? And we can talk about that. I can show you some things that might get you really excited where you would say, hey.
I actually they were trying to recruit me for Transamerica last year in around September, but my problem was I didn't want to do networking. And when I got into H&R Block this year, I figured, well, that's the only way I'm going to get myself out there is by talking to people.
All right. Well, you don't have to tell me what they pay you at H&R Block, but I do taxes, and I average about $1,000 a return. So do the math. Good. So yes, you network. You should be doing that in any business. Number one, and number two, what I do is consultative sales. So I don't go out and say, hey, let me sell you this crappy life insurance or some investment. I come out and say, if I meet you out somewhere, where you're at a chamber meeting or whatever, I want to get your business card, right? And this is what I tell my clients: you're gonna go out to mixers and networking events, and don't spend an hour with this one guy just because you like him or you got something in common. Say, hey, what's your name? My name's Jay. You got a card? Pull cards. You'll get as many cards as you can and get out of there. And then a day or two later, I'm going to say, okay. Hey, I met you at the networking event the other day. Can I buy you an iced tea or a cup of coffee or something, whatever? I'd like to learn more about your business, right? 99 times out of 100, people are going to say, sure, because they love talking about their business. And then we get together and go, man, tell me about H&R Block. What's going on over there? Oh, what do you love about it? And you tell me all these things. What don't you like about it? Well, blah, 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 right? So great. So I'm listening to you talk. If we're together for an hour, 55 minutes is you talking. And then the last 5 minutes, I'm going to go, hey, real quick, I know you got to go, but this is what I do. And just share that, right? And then come back, right? And follow up a few days later, and then just kind of drip on people. So you start building a little connection there. And then when the timing's right, they're going to come banging on your door and say, hey, man, I think I got an interest in that thing. But, networking is just a fact of life. And do you like people?
I do, but I'm a full-time mom, and that's why it was like I was hesitant.
Okay.
Because I was like, I don't have
Well,
this time.
I have a lot of stay-at-home moms that work with me, and they're just referral partners. So they go, hey, I was at school, I was at the market, I met this lady, she needs something. I told her you're going to give her a call. If they do something, we just split 50-50. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to go out at night. They don't have to do all this stuff, right? But, okay, who's next? I lost my spot. Dennison. Can you explain the financial steps that someone must take before opening their own business? Yes. So just like personally, you need to be debt-free. You need to have 6 months of your monthly expenses liquid for yourself in a personal financial situation, right? Same thing for your business. So if you say, hey, my business is going to cost $2,000 a month, minimum overhead, right? Then you need to have 12 grand set to the side, right, before you launch it. And again, a lot of people come and say, oh, I need all this big money, and quite often you don't, right? Start your business out of your home. Right? If you need an office, there's places like Regis over here. You can rent an office by the hour. Right? You can rent it by the day. You can, so you have all these things available to you. But keep the overhead as low as possible, because most of the businesses that I've seen that have failed is not because the business owner was a bad business person, not because they didn't know what they were selling or the service they were providing, not that they weren't qualified, not that they had an inferior product. The problem was cash flow, right? The business grows. Now they have a few employees. Payroll's due Friday. Rent's due Monday. And I got negative 20 grand in my bank. But my customers owe me $250,000 and I only owe $20,000. Too bad. It's the third time you're late to the landlord. He says you're out. Your employees walk. You're done. Right? So you got to keep the money under control. And it's just simple. Right? Keep a budget. Stick to the budget. Who's the next one? Deverman.
Lauren's usually over in this area, but I don't see her tonight.
No? All right, another D for the year. Okay, we're going to skip. We're not even going to recite her question. Flores, Stacy. Huh? Not here?
No, she's usually right about here.
Okay. We always say winners find a way, losers find an excuse. Okay. Hernandez, Elizabeth. There you are. What are the skills that are most important for a position in this field? Which field are you referring to? As a consultant? I think the most important skill is listening. Right? And so it's not what you think they need, and even though there's parameters you're going to guide them into, but listen to what they really want and try to achieve. And one thing I would tell you is, even like this class, when you're a student here, you should have an outcome that you want from this class before you even step foot in. Does that make sense? Because if you don't have an outcome, a desired outcome out of this, then it's just going to just fade away. Right? You have a desired outcome of coming to CSUB that you want to graduate, right? But you can even break it down more than that. And same thing with the business. When you meet with them, what's the desired outcome for each meeting? And then you can grow up bigger and bigger. Did I lose my place? Where was I? So most important skills. Yeah. So, you need to have some minor computer skills. You need to have kind of a minor overview. I've always been a big idea guy and said, hey, you do the details, right? But you need to be kind of visionary and be able to buy into their vision. If you have an idea for a business, right, and I can't buy into that, I'm not going to be a good consultant for you. And then you're going to have some kind of a chemistry with that person too. And you can tell that off right away. If you guys are connecting, you got that little chemistry where you want them to win, right? You want them to succeed. And then the other person, they want to work with you. They go, oh man, I think this guy can help me, right? If you don't have that, then it's not going to work out either. Morris Hernandez.
Morris is over here.
All right. What motivates you to do what you do? Man, I get excited every day just because I'm passionate about what I do, because I want to win and I want to see other people win. And if I can do just the smallest thing to help you win, achieve your goals and dreams, man, then I'm satisfied. Right? Hopefully I can do more than that, but if I can participate in that, that's a big deal for me. And I think we're on this earth for a reason, and most of us, we think the world revolves around our hind end, but it really doesn't. It's not about us as an individual; it's about everybody else. Right? And if you help enough other people get what they want, you're eventually going to get what you want. Didn't Wrigley say that? Didn't Wrigley, the chewing gum guy, say that?
I think so. Esperanza Herrera. All right.
What advice do you have for managers, entrepreneurs that are skeptical about using the latest technology to enhance their business? Wow. If you're skeptical about technology, get out. So I know when I had my automotive shop and computers were coming out at that time, and then there was the old guys that they hand wrote everything. And I said, man, your car has a computer on it, but the guy who's filling out your invoice uses a pencil and paper. Does that make sense? You know? Technology is awesome, and it's evolving. Whatever you think is wrong, it's so far past that now. How many of you know that they're going to do the first head transplant in December? Right? Did you guys see that? I mean, you know, even 2 years ago, how we think we could do it, but how can we do it? Now they know how to do that, right? I mean, these are amazing times. The technology, as fast as it's going, and so yeah, you have to be on top of technology. And if you're not, I mean, that quite often in business, if you're with somebody else, you're equal. That technology might be just the winning edge for you to win, right? I mean, it comes down to splitting hairs sometimes, depending on what you're talking about. Our company, Transamerica, now to switch gears, they've been revolutionizing the financial services industry with technology. 2 years ago, if you wanted to open a managed investment account, there was about 150 to 200 pages of paper that I had to print out and have you sign. Now I can send you a link from my iPhone, and you can open a managed investment account in less than 2 minutes. No paperwork. Wow, that's technology. So, let's see, where are we? Morris Hernandez, did we?
Yeah, you got past that one, and
got
you
past
just had Esperanza's question.
Okay. Lindsay Flamenco. All right. What is the best part of your job? Well, first, I don't have a job, but I think I know. The best part is helping people. And it is really fun, you know. We had 2 weeks ago, we had an event at the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame. How many people have been to the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame? That place is awesome. You should be proud that that's in Kern County. If you haven't been in there and you get a chance, you need to go over and check it out. You can take family and friends from anywhere in the world and be proud in that facility. It's so beautiful. But we had an event there, and this is just one of many things that's great about what I do, is I got to see Haley do her debut presentation. We had there was 100 ladies there who came for our Wine, Women, and Wealth. So stuff like that. Seeing other people just do amazing things with their businesses. Right? That's the best part, really. Money's always a factor, but it's not the main factor. It's in the top 10, it's maybe number 10. I mean, it's a concern. You got to eat, you got to pay the utilities and all that stuff. But everything else is a great part. Being associated with CSUB, I've gotten to travel to the Middle East representing the university. Last fall, I was on the East Coast representing. I was in Massachusetts and then down in New York City. So those are pretty good perks. Jose Meza. Jose? No?
Nope.
Okay, we're going to skip Jim. How are we doing on time?
We're fine. We're fine. You got until quarter after. And it's quarter till now. You got a half an hour still.
Oh, okay. Myra Morales. All right. Did you always plan on working in this area of business, or did something lead you? Okay. So, you want me to tell you a story? How I got involved with the SBDC? Is that what you're referring to? Okay. So, like I said, we lived in Santa Clarita, and we moved up here in 2009. And I had started my practice with Transamerica. And I was trying to help my friend here get his thing going. But I was still going, at that time I had an office in Burbank. So 6 days a week I'd drive down to Burbank. And so I did that for the first year I was here. And I go, man, and then I kind of decided that I didn't want to move back. In the beginning I thought, well, I'm going to be going back, so I need to have that activity so that I got something to come back to, right? And so after the first year of doing that, and I said, no, I'm going to stay here, I went to Rotary. Anybody know what Rotary is? A Rotary is a service club, and what you'll find is that successful business owners belong to service clubs. There's Rotary, there's Kiwanis, there's Lions Club, there's Exchange Club, things like that. And so what they do is typically it's business people that get together and they come up with community service projects and things like that to help support the community. So I've been a Rotarian for quite a while, and I can tell you amazing stories about what's happened there. But so anyways, I found out that there's a couple Rotary clubs that meet at the Petroleum Club every week, and so I went in there just to join one of the meetings. So when you're a member, you can go anywhere in the world and you have instant friends. Really, they're all like-minded individuals. They want to help other people, and they want to help you achieve whatever you want to achieve. So I went into Rotary, and I met this gal there named Patty Kiefer. And Patty used to work in advancement over here. And so I met her there, and I got a card from her, like I was telling you guys earlier, right? And so the next day I called up, and I said, "Hey, Patty, this is Jay. I met you." "Oh, yeah, hi, Jay. How are you?" I said, "Can I buy you an iced tea, cup of coffee, dinner, lunch, whatever you want? I'd like to meet with you and talk about what you're doing." Well, she's from advancement. She said, "No, this guy has to be doing some money." Right? So anyway, so we get together, and I go, "Look," I said, "I enjoyed meeting you yesterday, and I decided I'm going to put my roots down here in Bakersfield, and I need your help. And when you tell somebody, I need your help, what do they say? Can I help you?" I said, "Well, I'm not connected here. I need to know who you know. This is what I do. This is what I want to do." She goes, "Okay, let me see what I can do for you." And so like a couple of weeks go by, I didn't hear anything from her. And then I get a phone call, and it's her. She goes, "Okay, Jay, I got you set up with meetings with all the department heads next week on Thursday or whatever." I'm like, okay. So I come over here, and let me even back up. They were having a advancement luncheon, is what it was first. And so she goes, "Don't worry, I don't expect any money out of you. I just want you to come and meet the department heads because I got a meeting set up with you the following week." So I go in there, and we're at that room over in the center hall over there. And I didn't know where I was going, so I got there early. And I go to the back. They have iced tea and drinks set up over there. I'm getting myself an iced tea, and this guy comes walking in, and he looked like he was lost too. So we start talking back there, and then people started pouring into the room, and he goes, "Oh, I better assume my position." So and he walks up to the front, sits down, and he was Dr. Foley's husband. Remember Soraya? Mm-hmm. Okay. What was her position there? She was provost. Sure. Yeah, she was provost.
Okay.
So anyways, so that happened first. So then, anyways, the next week we have meetings with the department heads. So we get on that electric scooter thing that runs around, and they're driving me around to different departments. And everywhere I went, they got water and tea. So we get to the last one was Dr. Foley's office, and I got to find the restroom because I've been drinking water and tea all day. And so anyways, they go in, and I said, "I'll be right in there." And I come walk in, and I go walking in the office, and Dr. Foley, I go, "Hi, Dr. Foley." She goes, "I know who you are. You're my husband's friend." Because I met him at that other thing like that. And then it was just downhill from there. She's like, "Jay, you're going to talk to this person, this person, this person." And that's why networking is so important. See, when you make a connection with somebody, and if you have credibility with them, or the person that referred you to that person has credibility, you don't have to sell yourself. And that led into, wasn't a week or two later, I got a call from Dr. Evans. Everybody remember him? He's still around a little bit. And he says, "Hey, Jay, this is Mark Evans from CSUB. We're starting a SBDC here at CSUB, and we want to know if you'd like to be a part of that." He says, "You're familiar with the SBDC, aren't you?" I go, "Oh, sure, yeah." I didn't even know how to spell SBDC, right? So I'm Googling SBDC, and the stuff in Australia is coming up. And so anyway, so they have a meeting, and we get together, and there was like 30 or 40. How many people fit in that meeting room over at BPA?
In the meeting room?
Yeah, the big meeting room. 20? I don't know. It was
Yeah,
full, and there
20.
was chairs on the
20.
outside. Yeah, so there's better than 20 people there, of which I was one. And went around, everybody talked, and they go, "Okay, everybody have a nice day." And then I got the call next day, "Hey, we want you to be part of this group," and I was the only one. I'm like, wow. I don't know what I did right or wrong, but I think it went back to Patty and Dr. Foley think that's the only thing that got me in there. So, anyways, I digress.
No problem.
So where are we now?
You just answered Myra Morales' question.
Okay. So who's next? Jose Meza? Did we got him?
Yeah, ask.
Okay.
Jose wasn't here.
Lumina? What is the most detrimental mistake you made in your career, and what did you do? Okay. Most detrimental mistake I ever made was listening to other people and not. So here's a scoop. When you're doing things in business and you have people help you, even professionals, you're ultimately responsible. Doesn't matter what they say, and they will all be stand. When something goes wrong. So when I had my business in Santa Clarita, we were doing a lot of revenue. I was purchasing buildings and things like that. I had a CPA. Anybody know what CPA stands for? No, can't properly add. So I had a CPA taking care of my taxes, right? And I'd give him all this stuff, and he'd prepare the returns and all that. Well, I get the letter in the mail, IRS audit. No problem. I know everything's in good order, right? What do I got to worry about? And matter of fact, I even told the auditor when she came into the office, I go, look, I'm not perfect, but I bet you we're not more than 10% off, plus or minus. And I go, we're pretty right on all this stuff. Well, the reality was, what he did was, okay, so when you have rental real estate or you own the building in your business, you have something called depreciation, right? So residential properties are depreciated at 27 and a half years, commercial are 39 years. And so what he did is he depreciated my commercial building instead of 39 years, 27 and a half years. So when they did the audit, that created income. Are you following that? Does that make sense? So he depreciated it too much. So when they changed it, that difference was added income. And so if you know how taxes work, it's not 1 year. They build each year onto the next year, right? And so that one mistake was about $10,500, which turned into $75,000, and then went forward year after year after year for 4 years. And the IRS says, "Oh, thank you very much. You owe us $450,000." So the biggest mistake was depending on somebody who I thought knew what they were doing, and even a CPA can make a mistake. So and that makes there's a point there. So whatever you're doing in life, whether it's in business or whether it's personal, if you're talking about finance, if you're talking about law, if you're talking about going to a physician in the medical health arena, you need to know enough about whatever your thing is, your ailment, so to speak, so that you can direct your profession. If you don't, you're going to get whatever their boilerplate is. And it might be good, it might not be so good for you. So you go to the doctor and you say, "Doc, it hurts when I do this," right? He says, "Oh, you just need to take this medicine and away you go." Well, maybe there's something else causing the problem. If you even look it up online and you know, I'm not saying to self-diagnose yourself, but look at things that it could be and say, "Hey, here's what I've been thinking about. I kind of fit this parameter here. What do you suggest?" And then maybe it'll open his eyes to something. One thing they say here all the time is, whenever you go to the doctor, have them check you for valley fever, right? Because most physicians overlook that all the time. But if you have fatigue, or if you have, you know what the symptoms are of valley fever. If you're feeling that way, and the doctor says, "Well, you don't really have the flu." "Oh, but I got all these other symptoms. Can you run a panel on that?" There's no problem in aspect of that. So, David Pacheco. In your experience, what is the most common question your clients ask you to help them with their own business? Can you help me get a loan? That's the most common question. And probably half the people that ask that don't need a loan. Maria Perez. No? What recommendations do you have for someone who is interested in starting a business? I have one answer. Do it. Okay? I think, so here's a couple of things I would keep in mind. Number one, remember that there's a free service of people who want you to win, that are willing to help you. Number two, whatever the industry is that you want to start your business in, find people that have done it before you that have been successful and ask them to be your mentors. I mean, people love to help. And, you know, you look at somebody and go, oh, this is a wealthy, successful person. They don't have time for me. And you're right. They don't have any time for you if you're not serious. But if you're serious, they will make the time to help you. And Dr. Woods knows we started a thing a couple years ago called Capital Connectors here. It was 4 of the richest guys in Kern County. And they would sit down and mentor people with us through the SBDC. And matter of fact, people used to ask me, they go, Jay, I've been here for 30 years trying to do what you do, and you've been here for just a few years. And how do you know these guys already? It's because I don't want anything from them. Right? Everybody that sees them goes, oh, this is a wealthy guy here. Hey, I got this hot deal for you, right? You know what? Don't even take that approach. So, hey, man, can I buy you an iced tea? And then talk about them and what they want. All that other stuff comes later. You know? So, but that's how you connect with people that are that way. You know, what comes to mind, too, is they say that you're the average of the 5 people that you associate with the closest with. So, financially, professionally, religiously, education-wise, whatever it is, the 5 closest people that you associate with, you're going to be in that level, right? So if you want to move yourself up, find some mentors that are up and stretch yourself up there. And again, if you're serious and you don't waste their time, they'll spend all the time in the world with you. One of the guys took a student here from CSUB and had him in his science lab doing some water. I don't even understand. It's way beyond me. Doing some water testing type thing that he had a business idea for. So all that stuff is possible. Maria Perez, did we do that?
That's the one you just did.
That's the one I did. Let's see how long I'm in there. Christopher Pocket.
Let's see, Chris.
No? Well, let's see if this question's any good. What is the most useful first step in starting a business? Oh, taking the first step. So it all starts with an idea and a commitment. And the commitment is to who? It's to you. Right? That the moment you decide that you're going to take action and you're going to succeed and you make a commitment to yourself. Remember, if you quit, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. Right? But that's the most important first step is to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do this thing, or at least check it out and see if it's worth doing. Right? A lot of times people will come to us and they go, this is my business idea, what do you think? And we'll go through some exercises and go, look, you can do this and you will be successful, but you need to do this, and this. Oh, I'm not willing to do that. And I say, well, don't even start the business then. Because if you don't do this stuff, you're not going to win. Right? But if you're willing to do that, then you will succeed. Anisa Prado. After seeing so many businesses succeed, what makes your job fulfilling? Same thing. Seeing them win. And guess what? Once you win, it doesn't stop there. You can keep going and going and going and going and growing. Did you show them the video from Nikki Cummins at Rogan?
No.
Okay. So maybe you can talk him into showing that to you one day. But so when I first met them, they're a green energy business up in Tehachapi. When I first met them, they didn't think they needed me. And then the next year, they were in trouble, and they thought they needed me, which was way beyond what I could probably do for them. But we created a plan and worked the plan. They did the work and pulled themselves out. And so long story short, they went from doing about $1.5 million in business to losing $1 million to last year, they made $15 million. So now everything has changed. So what we were trying to do is just keep them in business and the doors open. Now the plan is to grow this thing to $25 million in revenue and have somebody buy them out. So as things progress, your plans will change too. They're on track for that. They can really do that if they want to. Oscar Ramirez. What is a normal day for you in your line of work? I have no normal days. So, and I tell my clients, I go, look, here's my phone, Here's my card. My phone's on 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If I'm sleeping or in a meeting, I'll call you back later. So my day starts when I wake up, which is usually before I plan on getting up. And I usually go to bed around 11:30, 12, and I usually wake up around 5, 5:30. And it just depends. Today I'm here, so I'm not doing my business. But tomorrow I have appointments scheduled. Thursday I'm all day in Fresno. A couple of weeks I have a bunch of clients in Dallas. I'll go to Dallas and spend a week there. So nothing's typical, really, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Every day is different. And here's the thing, too. So many of you go, well, maybe you have a job now or something. You go, well, Monday through Friday, can't wait for the weekend because then I'm going to do this, right? Or I'm going to do that. And your boss and all these other things are running your life. I run my life. If I want to go on vacation tomorrow, I go on vacation tomorrow. So it's not like having a job where I have to punch a clock. And yeah, I have responsibility to my clients. I need to make myself available to them. But it doesn't take that much time. My Transamerica business takes me about 10 to 15 hours a week. I have about 450 clients now there. SBDC business takes as much as I can give it, and that's not enough. So it'll wear you out just because people take all of it. So, Loretta Ramos. What influenced you to work in this career? I love business. I love to see people make things and put them together and win with it. And I guess that's probably what influenced me to do this. And then plus my past experience getting dumped. Which if you ever lost a job, it doesn't feel good. So that's probably it. I think if you work for yourself and you're successful, you'll never turn back. I could go work for somebody on a job for maybe 90 days, and then one of us would want to kill the other one. Because, but you can do anything for a 90-day period and focus on it if there's a task or something that needs to be done. But to get a job, that would just be a bad taste in my mouth forever. I wouldn't be happy, and they wouldn't be happy to have me. Franklin Schuster. What qualities do you look for in a recent graduate? I look for somebody who's able to make a commitment and fulfill it. So here's the thing. If somebody comes to us at Transamerica, we don't care if you have a college education or not. And we don't want you if you've already been in the financial services industry because you've been tainted. We want to teach you our way. If you say, hey, I recently graduated from CSUB, I don't care what your grades are. I care that you graduated because what I'm looking for is you made a commitment to do something in 4 years and you succeeded. That pays a bigger reward than anything else you could tell me. Don't care if you had straight D's or straight A's. I want to know that you made a commitment and you finished it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, I'm not telling you don't do your best because you should always be doing your best. But I hope you know what I mean. McKenna Singh. Do you help clients get loans to begin their startups? The short answer is yes. But the long answer is I'm probably going to talk them out of it. Right? Because if you don't have a business, right? So anybody know how loans work? You go to a lender, they give you money, and then what do they want? They want money back. Starting when? Probably, within 30 days, right? So if you're starting a business and it's not operating, how are you going to pay the loan? I don't know. And here's another thing to think about, too. If you have a business idea, and say you only need $50,000 or $100,000 for that, right? Would you put your own money in it if you had it? I've had people tell me, look, hey, I need $500,000 to get this business. We're going to make money. It's so awesome, this and that. I go, okay, so how do we get a loan? We need to know everything you have. So pull your credit reports. We need all your bank statements, your investment statements, everything you have. Remember, any lender is going to put a lien on anything you own that has equity in it. property, cars, everything. So I've had people come in and say, hey, I need all this money, and they got way more than that. I said, well, would you put your own money in it? Oh, no, I wouldn't put my money in this. That's why I'm getting the bank. Why would you expect the bank to put money in it? It's a funny thing with lending. I had one client in Ridgecrest. This is a true story. This guy has a trailer business, and he sells utility trailers, auto trailers, all this kind of stuff. He wanted to add a Mahindra tractor dealership to his business. So Mahindra is the largest tractor manufacturer in the world. And they're manufactured in India, and they've got a great reputation and good quality product now. And so we started to get a loan, and he had a S corporation set up with his brother as a partner on S corp. So when there's an entity structure, every officer or shareholder that has a 20% or more holding in the company has to qualify for the loan. Well, his brother had a foreclosure from a real estate deal that went south. So no lender, that just contaminated his other brother who had like almost an 800 FICO score, right? So nobody's going to loan him as long as he's in partnership with his brother. So you have two decisions: you get rid of my brother, or you don't get a loan. Well, he didn't want to get rid of his brother, so what we did we're there, kind of brainstorming, looking at his property. He's got several acres just covered with trailers, and I go, who's fronting the inventory on all these trailers you have here? He goes, what do you mean? I said, who's flooring these for you? He goes, oh. He says, I just pay cash as I get them because I get a bigger discount. I'm like, you own all this inventory? Yeah. Right? And it was a few $1 million. I go, and I'm not that bright, but I stayed at Holiday Inn Express one time. And this thing goes off in my head. I go, okay, you need $1 million. Sell $1 million worth of inventory. And so that's what he did. He had a big sale, got his cash, and he didn't need a loan. So that's why I say everybody, their first course of action is, I need to borrow money. That's not your first course. There might be another way. Okay. So, and then he got his dealership, and he's still there. See you on? Do you encourage students with no professional working experience to start a small business? Absolutely. So what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? And then you should follow that. You're going to gain more experience doing your own business than if you're working for somebody else. Because you're going to see it from the inside out. And so when you begin, I like to say you're chief cook and bottle washer, right? I mean, you got to clean the toilet, you got to empty the trash, you got to make the phone calls. You're wearing all these different hats all the time. If you're an employee in somebody else's business, you're only going to see one little aspect of that. You're not going to get to experience the whole array of everything that needs to be done. But, I would encourage everybody here should have their own business on the side. So if you're on a career path where you got to have a job just because that's where your passion is, that's fine, but still have a business on the side. You always be in control of your time over there. You get great tax benefits, which could be another 4-hour session we can do on the tax benefits of having a small business. And go for it. Go big. And that leads to another thing that people usually, they think too small. So I would tell you, look, shoot for the moon. You're probably not going to hit it. You're going to get a whole lot farther than if you shot for a target on that wall. But shoot for that target, you probably hit it. If you go way beyond, you'll stretch yourself and you'll do just that much better.
All right. Any other questions that I know several people have written them down afterwards, and Jay did in front of them. So Luigi, and then Martin. Here first.
Martin, go for it.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
What age were you when you first decided that you wanted to go into business for yourself?
Well, like I say, I always had businesses on the side.
Right.
But I guess when the railroad dumped me, I was like, that would be about 22 years old. What age group is this? Might I ask? Low
About
20s?
there, yeah. Early to mid-20s.
Okay. I had my first house at 24 because I had a business and I had to cash the title. If I was working for somebody, I probably wouldn't be able to do that.
Other questions?
If you could recommend one book to read and one speaker to listen to,
Oh.
who would those be? Besides the book that your buddy pays you to sell.
No, actually, he doesn't sell these. He gives these to people that are serious.
Then I'll read it. Thank you.
So there's a lot of great books on business out there. Obviously, you got to read The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then Steve Blank has some stuff out. Everybody familiar with Steve Blank? SteveBlank.com when you get out of here. He's the entrepreneurial wizard. Right? Gosh, I have a lot of them written down, but they're not popping in my head.
You have a particular speaker that you like? They're normally authors in conjunction. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and you got to be careful. You know, the world looks at a lot of these people as they're special, and they're really not. They just regurgitated what these other guys who really are special are saying. And so you got to weed that kind of stuff out. There's books like The Power of Thinking Big. Help me, Miguel. You know what I'm thinking?
12 weeks in a year.
Well, yeah, if you want to change your life while you're in school and be in charge of your time, the 12-week year by Brian Moran, that is huge. And so basically what his thesis is you can achieve a year's worth of activity in 12 weeks if you plot and plan. And it really works. What if he's half on? You achieved a year's worth of activity in 6 months, right? So things like that. And again, it's probably nothing you don't know, but he packages it in a manner where it's easy to follow and you can do it. People ask me, how do I get so much done? Because it's like I have I'm a landlord, I'm a business consultant, I have an investment practice, do tax planning for high income earners, do all these things, and that's how I do it.
Any other questions before we call it a day? Okay, let's give Jay a big round of applause.
Anybody need a card?
Yeah, please.